When it comes to luxury timepieces, very few brands are as iconic as Rolex. The Swiss watch designer and manufacturer is not only globally renowned, but also one of the most secretive companies in the world. Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video, we're taking a look at some of the lesser known facts about Rolex that may surprise you. Stay tuned to find out the dark secrets of Rolex. It takes about a year to make one Rolex watch. Rolex has always focused on quality, efficiency, and attention to detail, which is why the company takes no shortcuts when it comes to its manufacturing process. Nearly 1 million Rolex watches are produced annually, but each of these watches undergoes a detailed construction process and testing phase, which takes a total of 1 year. It takes this long because Rolex produces everything in-house. The company has its own lab and even an in-house foundry for making its own gold. Then there's also an army of gemologists who carefully test all kinds of precious stones until they're ready to be embedded in a Rolex dial. The manufacturing of every watch starts with assembling its case, most of which is done by hand. Yes, there's a lot of machinery and technology involved, but Rolex proudly produces timepieces that are hand-assembled by experts. Once the watch is functional, it undergoes an extensive testing and quality assurance process which can't be rushed. The company also has to ensure that the quality remains consistent throughout every batch, so altogether, the entire process takes almost 1 year. The brand has a long history of innovation. It's no secret that Rolex takes pride in its consistent innovation, but did you know that the brand transformed and modernized luxury watchmaking on more than one occasion? In 1910, for example, Rolex became the first watch manufacturer to receive the Swiss Certificate of Chronometric Precision. Later, in 1926, Rolex released its famous Oyster case, also the world's first waterproof wristwatch case, before producing a watch that was water-resistant up to 100 meters. In 1945, Rolex came up with another notable innovation, a chronometer wristwatch with an automatically changing date on the dial. Meanwhile, the 1954 release of Rolex GMT Master marked the first wristwatch to indicate 2 time zones at once. 2 years later, the brand came up with the iconic Rolex Day Date, which was the first timepiece of its kind with an automatically changing day and date on the dial. Rolex developed their own premium stainless steel. Many watch enthusiasts are familiar with the fact that Rolex uses a particular type of stainless steel that no other brand uses. There are multiple reasons as to why this is. Firstly, this type of steel, called 904L steel, is a lot more expensive, requires special tools and machinery, and is a lot harder to work with. So not every watch manufacturer can handle and learn to work with it. Rolex, on the other hand, has stood out by learning the art of utilizing this unique grade of steel in its manufacturing process. The brand released its first 904L steel watch in 1988, and by 2003, it shifted the entire production to this premium steel. This is the main reason why Rolex watches are durable, more rust and corrosion resistant, and can hold their polishes so well. Rolex was originally founded in London. Rolex may be headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, but the brand's foundation was set in London in 1905. At that time, co-founders Alfred Davis and Hans Wilsdorf only imported Swiss watches from a watch manufacturer named Hermann Eigler. These watches were then assembled and sold to jewelers, who would then add their own trademark on the dial. Wilsdorf and David's watches were simply labeled W&D inside the case back, and it wasn't until 1915 that their company was called Rolex Watch Co. Limited. Things further changed after World War I. With the economy in England crumbling, Davis and Wilsdorf realized it was best to move their business to Switzerland. The co-founders also understood that making their own timepieces from scratch was a lot more profitable than simply importing watches. Also, by relocating their company, they could now employ excellent Swiss watchmakers, which they wouldn't find in London. The company has never explained the word Rolex. Nearly every brand name has a story behind it, but we can't say the same for Rolex. Over the years, several stories have emerged about what Rolex means, and this particular name was the ultimate choice, but so far, none of these theories have been confirmed. In fact, Rolex has never explained the meaning behind its brand name or even its story. All we know for sure is that the name was officially registered in 1908 when Alfred Davis and Hans Wilsdorf created Wilsdorf and Davis, which later became Rolex SA. Some say that the trademark Rolex is a shorter form of the phrase horological excellence, while others believe that the name is derived from the phrase horlogerie exquisa, which means exquisite clockwork. But the most reliable story says that Wilsdorf thought of the made-up name Rolex just because it was easy to pronounce in any language and was short enough to be mentioned on the face of a watch. He also picked the name due to its onomatopoeic nature.